All right, test 1 2. Welcome back, everybody. This is Jaysology 101, episode 001B. And what I want to talk about right now is I want to talk a little bit about the closer situation for the city of Toronto Blue Jays, moving from 2025 season to the 2026 season. Question for you. What is your degree of confidence in Jeff Hoffman to successfully close out playoff games moving into the 2026 season? On a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think? 10 being extremely confident, 1 being no confidence, almost no confidence at all. Now, I took a look on Baseball Savant into some of the statistics, the advanced statistics on Jeff Hoffman and where he stands in comparison to the rest of the league, and some of the similarities, the things that were the same as in the 2024 season when he had an amazing year that really probably spurred the Blue Jays front office to sign him and to have some degree of confidence that he was going to be an awesome top upper echelon closer that you can rely on in, high leverage situations. Versus what were some of the differences between the 2024 and 2025 season in terms of the advanced statistics? And ultimately, going to present the case for why, if things remain the same as they were in the 2025 season, from a statistical perspective, we should not remain confident in Jeff Hoffman to be the closer for the Toronto Blue Jays. All right, so let's take a look here at Jeff Hoffman's statistics from 2024 on Baseball Savant and compare them to the statistics from 2025. Of course, 2024 he played for the Philadelphia Phillies, and 2025 played for the Toronto Blue Jays. On the Phillies, he was a setup man, relief pitcher, late inning, high leverage relief pitcher, and the Blue Jays signed him, brought him in to be our closer, as we all know. Now, when you look at this, you could already see here in the general value category, there are some massive drop-offs from 2024 to 2025. You could see just by looking at a glance at the 2024 stats here on the left, why Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro were probably extremely interested in bringing Hoffman on board. Like elite levels, upper percentile, and many of the most important statistics, but a little bit of some red flags here at the bottom, right? We have near the lower part of the league in terms of hard hit percentage and ground ball. So you could see he wasn't really inducing that many ground balls, and also the opposition were hitting the ball hard off of him. And they were barreling it up just moderately. However, if you look at the actual kind of traditional statistics, the traditional metrics, pretty elite, right? ERA 2.17, whip under 1. Yeah, the guy was extremely effective, elite level, high leverage, late inning relief pitcher. Now, you can see some big drop-offs here. If we just start off by looking at the general statistics, let's start off with the good, okay, the positive. So you could see here, breaking ball run value, very similar from 2024 to 2025. So the breaking balls were doing well, okay? Now, here's where we get into some red flag territory. Overall pitching run value, right, went from 84th percentile down to the 33rd percentile in the league. So went from great to below average. Okay, that to me is, we should already just have some alarm bells just looking at the overall pitching run value. And if we look at the fastball run value, wow. Essentially the fastball run value cratered. Okay, so fastball effectiveness went from 85%, the contribution of fastball to runs, went down to the 18th percentile in the league. and that is rated as poor, right? So the fastball run value is extremely poor. That is not good. That is not a good signal in terms of the general metrics here. Let's take a deeper look at some of the more specific metrics, and you could see that, let's start off with the good again. Expected batting average, pretty much identical, okay? Expecting batting average 202 to 203. That kind of shows that, yeah, the opponents, they aren't really hitting off them. They aren't really getting base hits. They aren't really reaching base in the batting average, right? And then if you go down here, there are some things that improved, right? Hard hit percentage went from the 21st percentile up to the 58th percentile. Ground ball percentage, you know, he was inducing a lot more ground balls, 22nd percentage over to 43rd percentage. And overall extension, right, of like, you know, how far down the mound you're releasing the ball is the same or even a little bit better. But really, I could say that these are close to being identical, 60 to 65. All right, let's take a look at the bat here. Okay, let's take a look at the bat. So expected ERA cratered. So we went from an expected ERA of 2.87 to expected 3.85. So opponents are scoring a lot more runs. We could see this reflected in the more traditional stats as well. WHIP in 2024 went from under 1 to 1.2, okay, 1.19. ERA went from 2.17 to 4.37. This is a nice metric over here. He still was amongst the leaders in terms of saves, so he was still converting saves. But yeah, I don't see them here, but I do recall quite a few blown saves as well. And a whole bunch where there was like a nice lead, solid lead, and it was like down to the wire and he just kind of squeaked by. What else looks bad? Okay. Expected ERA, not good. Walks. This is not a good look, people. He went from the 81st percentile down to the 26th percentile. He was walking 6 per 9, and now he's walking 9.4 per 9, right? And to me, this is the biggest red flag, and that is barrel percentage. He goes from being kind of average, 52nd percentile, to the worst in the league. Okay, the worst in the league. Bottom 1% of the league in terms of barreling up. Now, if we start to combine that with some of the other metrics here, we could say, all right, that's kind of interesting because we already established that the opponent expected batting average is pretty much still elite. So they're not really making contact often. But the barrel percentage shows that when they are making contact, they are barreling up the baseball. They're barreling up the baseball, right? Let's take a look at the movement profile because this is a bit of a revelation as well. 2024, he was predominantly a slider fastball pitcher, right? Slider fastball with just a little bit of dipping into a splitter and sinker, okay? He threw a lower percentage of sliders with the Blue Jays in 2025 and was a fastball first pitcher, which I like. I mean, I like fastball first pitchers, especially if you're a closer, you know? And if we look up here, the fastball velocity maintained, but the fastball run value cratered. That's not a good thing. If you're moving to being a fastball first pitcher, you want your fastball run value to be elite, right? Especially if you're a closer. Now, this is probably the most alarming thing that I found here on Baseball Savant is you could see here in 2024, the slider was breaking on average 6 inches and it was going down and to the left. So down and towards the glove side, right? In on left-handed hitters, away from right-handed hitters. Now let's take a look at the sliders for 2025. And you can see that there's no downward break anymore. It's purely horizontal. This is more of a sweeper now. Okay, this is more of a sweeper, and it's a little bit closer to middle, right? A little bit less of induced break. And if we take a look at proportional to use, we could see that the spread is, I mean, you know, when you take off the average, you could see that the sliders in 2024 were moving a lot more. They were breaking more, and they were moving away from right-handed hitters. 2025, not as much so, staying a little bit more towards, you know, the hit zone and not breaking as much. So, what happened in Game 7 of the World Series in the 9th inning? Have a right-handed hitter, Miguel Rojas, and our guy Hoffman hangs a slider that doesn't break too much in the middle inner half of the plate. And Rojas tattooed it, tied up the game, and the Blue Jays ended up going on to lose the frickin' World Series of baseball. Okay? So, that is not good. This is not a good look if you're Jeff Hoffman, or if you're the Blue Jays, really, and Jeff Hoffman is your closer. So let's kind of summarize this. What is the good? The good, breaking ball run value is strong, no change. Swing and miss, still elite, right? A slight drop off. Chase rate, whiff rate, K percentage, all elite. Opponent, expected batting average, elite as well. They generally don't make contact in general. What is the bad? The bad, the walks are up. That's never good, right? Walks are not good. At every level, if you're walking guys, you're playing with fire. The walks are up. The fastball run value is way down. It's cratered. Now let's take a look at the ugly. What is the ugly? Pitching run value, lower than average. Once again, fastball run value, poor. Barrel percentage, in the bottom 1% in the league. And this is your closer. So regardless of how good the expected batting average is, when they are making contact, they are barreling up the ball. And we saw this case in point in the 9th inning of Game 7 of the World Series with a blown save. So, what does this mean? What do you think? Do you have a high degree of confidence in Jeff Hoffman as the Blue Jays closer moving into the 2026 season? Do you have a moderate? Scale of 1 to 10, please jump into the chat box. If you're watching this, if you're commenting, 10 being super high confidence in Jeff Hoffman as the Toronto Blue Jays closer moving into the 2026 season. 1 being extremely low confidence. All right, friends. That's a little bit of a breakdown looking at the Baseball Savant statistics, the advanced metrics here.